Well, in the last video I said that was going to be the final video, but when I was putting the clips together it just got too long. So this actually is going to be the final video, which is going to be the setup and installing the body and testing it. So it will. As I start installing the body panels, this piece here fits on underneath these screws. The instructions don't show a washer, but when they fit on these little tabs you need a washer. So be sure to find some little washers and put underneath there when you install this. And then it just screws down. I've mounted the seat bases now, and I'm really getting ready to put the lights in some of the body panels and get those installed. A few things left to do to finish up the chassis. I've got to mount the front bumper here, and that wiring will then run up with the rest of the wiring. And then I'm going to tie up all this wiring so that the only wiring left will be that comes down from the cab. I've also got to glue on the seats. I do that last because I tend to flip the thing upside down when I'm working on it and break the seats off. So I'll get this mounted, get the wiring tied up, get the seats on, and then we will put the body on, and by gosh, it's about ready to go. The wiring will run up the chassis here, up through the bottom, and then I have one little detail left down here, and that is the shift rod, which I will install and adjust. And that should complete the chassis. So I've got all my panels prepared. You can see on these wings I've painted the edges with the dark gray, polished them. I've added the brackets. There's two little dots on this metal bracket that have to be on the side facing the truck. So I've got those panels all prepped and ready to go. So they're good. My side panels, the bottoms are painted with X18 black. I've got my metal steps glued on there, polished, little bracket on the back. So all these panels are ready to put on. Now I have to work on the actual body itself, and that's going to include a bunch of lighting. So I'll go ahead and do that, tape up some of the wires, and then we'll see what we've got. Starting to close in on it now. See, I've got the front bumper mounted. I've got the receiver mounted against the back side of the MFC, and I covered the labels with electrical tape so they wouldn't show. I made a little box out of some scrap styrene that will drop in here to cover up the receiver and the wiring there, and that'll disappear once the top's on and the seats are in. So that's how I'm going to hide that. You can see the MFC and the wiring there. I used blue tie wraps on all the wires that are going to stay plugged in when the body comes off, and then the wires that come down from the body I'll use red tie wraps so I know which ones to unplug when I need to remove the body. You can see I've tucked all the wiring in down here. Underneath, I've run the wiring up the frame with little bits of aluminum tape and a couple of tie wraps, and pulled as much of the wire down from above as I could, and then coiled it up in here. Turned out pretty neat. The side panels are on. This is one of the wires for the body. I think everything is basically put together on the chassis. Again, I'm not going to mount the seats until the very last thing, just because I tend to do stuff like this and I don't want to break them off. So now it's just finish up the body and get it mounted. Moving on with the body panels is the top. I've mounted the windows. I used micro crystal clear to glue them in. Mounted the lights. Nothing special here. I've decided what I'm going to do with the lights is I'm going to run them down through here and then tape the wires to the bottom of the cab, mount them with a stress relief up here at the top, and then pull them down into the MFC. So that pretty much completes this cap. I will go to work on the body, get things mounted in there. As I continue to add pieces to the body, I'm adding the rear body panels right now. I just want to show off this little plastic wrench that Tamiya gives you. It's a wonderful way to hold these nuts. I can add a little bit of thread lock to the nut, and trying to hold those things with my fat fingers is just not a great exercise. So with this little plastic holder, I can get these nuts started easily. And on these panels, you want to leave everything a little bit loose until you get all the pieces fitted, and then you can tie them all together. You can see I've got my lights in the front. I've added my mirror mounts, just continuing to assemble all these little body pieces. As I was getting ready to fit the windshield, I noticed that the instructions recommend painting the inside of the windshield. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a area that's not as transparent, and they want you to paint that black. And I'm like, oh great, all the painting's done. Oh man. So I test fitted the panel in there, and yes, if you don't paint it, you can see a gap between the panel and the windshield, so I have a little more painting to do. Body is all done, ready to install. I've got it all put together. I want to point out a couple little things. You can see the aluminum tape holding up the wires. Really no issues running the wires around. The wires from the top, I put a stress relief and I drilled 2 holes in the body and ran a tie wrap through it, so they're real tight. And then these wires are the ones that I have to hook up when I put the body on, so everything runs down kind of to one location. Time to put this on, and then the truck will be done. And here's the finished Cascadia truck. Turned out, I think, really nice. Paint looks great, shiny, no big boo-boos. Let's fire it up and make sure everything works okay. Turn the radio on, turn the truck on. You can adjust, boy, I can feel it vibrate. You can adjust how much it vibrates with a screw in the back of the MFC, but this seems about right to me. So we should have our horn functions. Then if we flip our dual rate switch, we should have lights. So first set of lights are the orange lights. Second set will be our headlights, and I hooked up the fog lights here too, plus the tail lights. And the third set are our rear lights. And then the fourth one turns them back off again. Turn signals, front and rear, those work fine. And then of course, forward and reverse. And finally, shutdown sounds. really happy with how everything works. Pretty straightforward. I'll see if I can take a few photos with my camera and add them to the end of this video. I don't know how to do that yet, but something new to try on YouTube. I like that racing blue, very pretty color. Truck looks wonderful. Okay, well, as always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all your subscribing, and your comments are wonderful. Up next, I'm going to put lights in my Hemet and sound and show how to do that. And then I bought a Tamiya Tiger 1 tank, an old one, at a garage sale, and I think I'll do a resurrection video on the Tamiya Tiger 1, and then I've got a few more semis to build. So please again subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Next time.